Hey y'all, welcome back to FlyafterFifty, no spaces. I'm your Fly Dog D, and I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the view, I'm going to be showing you some eyeshadow palettes. These are going to be my eyeshadow palettes that I use in the month of September. I used 34 total palettes, and I'm going to be talking about them and reviewing them with you today. I do have them ranked in 3 different categories. The first section, I think I have 16 palettes in, and those are the great palettes. The second one, I think I have 13 palettes. Those are the good palettes. Then I have 5 in the okay category. So all of these palettes, all 34, I like them, and I was able to do some really pretty looks and swatches, and I will have all that in the video for you. Hope you like this type of video, because I have 2 more coming. I'll be showing you the eyeshadow palettes that I am going to use in the month of October in a separate video, and I'm going to be showing you some more nude neutral palettes in my collection. So I hope you're ready. Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss it. But without further ado, let's get on to these palettes. This first palette is a Don't Be Jelly palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. It is an all shimmer palette with a great formula. I loved it. This middle row has these shimmers in the middle row are a little creamier than the top and bottom, but the whole palette is wonderful. There's no glitter, and this type of palette I can wear anywhere: work, church, outings, date. I love this formula, and this was a really good palette. This is the Dawn of Fall palette. It is by It's Belle Cosmetic, and it's another all shimmer palette, much like the one I just showed you. It does not have any glitter. These shimmers are very creamy, easy to use, great formula, and I can wear these anywhere. Very pretty. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Sleepover palette. I've had this palette in my collection for quite a while and had not used it, and I'm so glad I did. I only wish I had used it when Barbie was trending, because I could come up with some great Barbie looks that are black girl friendly with this palette. It's so pigmented, and I have no regrets in purchasing this. This is a wonderful palette. This next palette is a Pat McGrath palette. It's a Mothership 9 Utopian Dream. That is what the colors look like. A beautiful color story if you like this type of thing. It is very beautiful. The formula, what can you say? It is just a lovely palette and a delight to use. This here is another Pat McGrath palette. This is Mothership 10 Moonlight Seduction. Another beautiful palette. I love this color story. This is where she changed out her astral blitz shades, which I love these in here. Good color story, beautiful palette, an exceptional formula. What can I say? Let's finish out Pat McGrath. This is another great palette. This is Mothership 4. And they are all her shimmer shades. I love this palette. I love these shimmers. I prefer her shimmers to her Bliss Astral shades. This is her Mothership 4. This is my favorite palette of all time in my collection. I just love these shimmers. This next palette, I have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Blends palette. It is 30 matte pigments for you to use and go with by itself for matte looks, or to use in combination with all shimmer palettes, which is what I did. I really don't need any other mattes besides what these are. We have a rainbow-like array of colors, have your neutrals. It's just beautiful, a joy to use, and it is compatible with all the eyeshadow palettes I've used thus far with it. This next palette is Luna Beauty Nude Prism. This is a neutral lover's dream, meaning myself. I love this palette. This is my favorite neutral palette. I love the way the aesthetic looks, where it has the lights on the top, the darker tones on the bottom, and all these beautiful shimmers on the middle. The formula is great. This is a wonderful palette. It is one of my favorite. It is my favorite neutral palette. Very nicely done. All right, this next palette is by Dominique Cosmetics. It is her Essential palette. This is a beautiful neutral palette. It is actually creeping up on my Lunar Beauty. It gives me a close second. I love the tones. It goes from light to dark. We have the mattes, light to dark mattes, and light to dark shimmers. The mattes are kind of dry, but in a good way. The formula is great, and easy to use. I love this palette. The next palette is Demetrius McDew's Groundwork. It is not just an eyeshadow palette. It's a face palette and it's a lip palette. It is an all-in-one palette. I love this palette. I mean, I could use this every single day. It has the pomades and the powders right next to each other in the same shades. Love it. I love it. It's so innovative, and that's what we've been asking from these brands, and Demetrius McDew delivered. Love it. It was intimidating at first, but then I saw how easy it is to use. It is just great. The only issue I hope I don't ever have is these pomades. Since this doesn't lock close or anything, I hope the pomades do not dry out. But other than that, love. Also from Demetrius McDew, I have her Light Work 4. It's a Transcendence palette. Y'all, these shimmers on the top row and on the bottom row, metallics, duochrome, multichrome, whatever she calls them chromes and glass metallic, velvet chromes and glass metallics. Love. Beautiful. The only drawback for me is this middle row, which I've had some recommendations on how to use them, and then I'll eventually get to that. But as of right now, I've only used the top and bottom. It is spectacular. Okay, this next palette is for Cosmic Brushes. This is their Delicious Delights. This is the 4th palette that I've gotten from them, and y'all, this is wow. I don't know how they do this type of quality for the price that they do, but I love it. The mattes are buttery and smooth. The shimmers are shimmering. It is so beautiful. Once again, look at these pinks, man. I wish I would have used those when it was Barbie time. I would have showed out. But y'all, this is a beautiful palette, and I can't wait to see what this company does next. All right, y'all, the next palette is from ABH. It is her Navina collection palette, and this is number 5. This is the only one I have, but this is the only one I need. This is a purple lover's dream. Yeah, there's other purple palettes out there, but this is a good one for me, and it ranks at the top for me. It goes from light to dark. Not only can I make purple looks, I can go kind of neutral if I want to. Beautiful shimmers. It does have one glitter that I don't like, but overall this palette is amazing. I really like it. Okay, this palette is the Sumerian Sunset from Adept Cosmetics. I love this palette. These shimmers are so beautiful. The second row is different from this first row. Like these are thinner eyeshadows. These are more thicker, but they're all pigmented. The mattes are kind of cool tone, and I do have to go outside the palette for mattes, like to darken it up and to have different colors. But hey, I will do that because these, including the mattes, this is a spectacular formula and eyeshadow palette. This is the Nomad Cosmetics Ghost Town USA palette. Y'all, look at this color story. Now that I can appreciate a good cool tone palette, this is definitely a good one. I love the colors. I love the layout. It performs well, and the packaging is not so over the top Halloween. It's just a palette you can wear anytime you want to. It is very beautiful. It's versatile, it inspires me. Most of these palettes in this section inspire me to do looks, so I really, really like this palette. Inslee Rain's Strawberry Moon is the last palette in this section. This palette, y'all. These metallics, the mattes, this is just a beautiful pigmented eyeshadow palette. I love this so much. I could not wait till they came out with their second one, but y'all, they sold out for that palette within 5 minutes. That tells you something. I'm so glad that they opened up a pre-order for the next batch. But y'all, this palette right here, pigmented texture, it's like glassy, and oh, it's just beautiful. I love this palette. All right, that's it for the greats in section 1 of this eyeshadow palette. Now we're going to move on to section 2, the good palette. Okay, we're in the good section now. We're going to start off 4 palettes that Ace Beauté released as part of their floral collection. I'm so glad that they re-released these again after them being sold out, because these are amazing palettes. This one is the Cali. Loved it. I believe this is my favorite out of all of them. Just a beautiful palette. The second one is Flora. Beautiful color story. The shimmers, they're a little lackluster, but they do produce a beautiful look. The next one is Begonia. Beautiful, beautiful color story. Really liked it. And then last we have Fleur, which is the purple color story. I liked it. It's beautiful. This format is great. It's just like these two shimmers right here lean kind of silver. I wish I had like another lighter all purple one, but that's just me saying that these are beautiful palettes. And I am so glad that I got them. This is Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2. It is his second eyeshadow that he released. It's more of a rosy tone. None of these hard panned on me like the original did. I love it. It's a joy to use. It's blendable, pigmented, women of color friendly. And I was gonna say I wouldn't pay $70 for it, but I just got the all matte one in the mail, so that does not. Let's just scratch that out. Next up, I have 3 palettes from Tarte. This first one, this is the oldest one I have. This is the Tarte Unleashed. As I said, this is the oldest palette I have. It still performs well. I really like it. I brought it out because it's the new Tarte palette that came out, and I just wanted to compare them. They are all compatible, and they all perform very well. This is the Tarte palette from year before. This is the one that the consensus is that this was a great palette. You heard it all over YouTube, how everybody liked this palette, and Tarte was doing a comeback. It's beautiful. It's a nice color story, a nice warm color story that you can wear at any time. And this is the After Dark Man Eater that came out this year. Has the blues. I thought it was good. I didn't have any issues with it. It's a beautiful palette. It works well with the other 2. You can mix and match if you want to, or wear it on your own. I thought it was a good formula. Everything was good for me. Okay, the next palette is Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Subliminal. It is a cool tone palette. Now that I've grown to appreciate cool tones, I really like the look I did with this. It was very nice. These are all gray tone eyeshadow palettes. These are all gray tone eyeshadows, so you have to like that in order to use this, but I enjoyed it. Here's another Pat McGrath palette. This is Mothership 1, the cool tone one that palette right before it was supposed to go along with. Once again, I was just surprised by this look. It was gray tone, and when I finished that look, I felt glamorous. I felt sexy. I felt ready to go out on the town. So I feel like cool tones can go glam real quick, and I really enjoyed that look. All right, we're almost done. We have this one and then one more. This is Sydney Grace Autumn Rain. This is what it looks like. It is a beautiful palette, beautiful tones, goes light to dark, and the mattes are great, the shimmers are great. It is a very reliable formula. Every Sydney Grace palette I have has been consistently good. That formula, that's a tried and true formula. I really like it, and this was a great palette. This little guy is from M Cosmetics. It's Divine Skies. It's a nice compact palette, good for travel, with a neutral color story. Performs well, compact, easy to use. I really like this palette. Alright, the last palette is the Milani Gilded Desires palette. This is one of their older ones. They don't even make this palette anymore. But these shimmers and these mattes in here are really good. Some of the shimmers have texture. It's just a nice palette. And I wish they would go back to this formula, because their new formula I do not like. It's dry. I don't like it. But this is one of the good ones. Alright, y'all, that's it for the good palettes. Now we're going to real quick talk about the okay palettes. There's only 5 palettes in that section. Alright, this first palette is from the Balm. This is the Miss New York palette. The one where I thought this lady looked black. She looked like she could be Alyssa or Arnell's sister. Well, just open it up. I hadn't gotten anything from them in a while. This is a nice neutral palette. It's just going to give you a regular look. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing like spectacular about it. Has some mattes, has 4 shimmers. It's just going to give you a regular look, but sometimes that's what you need. Okay, this palette is from Dose of Colors. Their collab with Trevor. It is the Eternal Love palette. This is how it looks. It has good grounding staples of colors, the neutrals for your mattes, and then it has some shimmers in here. The mattes are really good. I really like those matte, and it ground the palette, so any of these shimmers that it uses, it looks good. But these are just regular thin shimmers. There's nothing spectacular about it, but they are nice to work with and will give you a nice look. This palette is the MAC Feast Your Eyes palette. That was from, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before, their Christmas or holiday release. It is a nice small palette that is good to travel with some beautiful shimmers and like satin-like shades. This is a palette. The packaging is beautiful. This is a palette for you to just throw on some looks, but they're going to be soft, subtle looks. So if you're going by for something like that, this would be a good palette for you to use. It's still a good palette, but it's going to be some subtle looks. Now this palette is from ColourPop. It's the In the Springs palette. Beautiful packaging and beautiful browns and blues. Just lovely palette. It was great to use, but it's just, once again, it's okay. It's going to give you a good look, but I'm not sure if this is their great or okay formula, but I think it's just okay. You're going to get a pretty look, but it's just okay. This ColourPop Troublemaker is the last palette in this video. Cute packaging, cute color story. It's a cool tone color story. I changed out some colors. I want to say it was these two, but I can't remember. But I did change out something so that I think I added this to make it more black girl friendly. But now that I can appreciate cool tones, I did enjoy the look that I got from this. I like this better than the palette before it. It's nice. Nothing really spectacular about it. It just will come out with a pretty look. Alright, y'all, we did it. That was it from the eyeshadows I used in the month of September. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you in another video.